Hello, this is Brian. Today's a beautiful, but a little bit warmer than average, November 17th, 2019. It's a Sunday morning. I'm here in the Angeles National Forest. I am in the San Gabriel Mountains. I am not that far from Angeles Crest Highway. I'm in a very popular and very lush Buckhorn Campground. It's one of the luscious spots in the Angeles National Forest. I believe it's closed for the winter already because everything here seems to be shut down and deserted. I only saw a hiker on the other side of the campground when I first came in here. Started shooting video earlier, but my memory card gave out, so I'm just going to start the video over again. So, this is one of the luscious areas in the Angeles National Forest. As you can tell here, it's a lot more thickly forested than most other areas in the San Gabriel Mountains. We're in a ravine on a north-facing slope near Waterman Mountain. In the Waterman Mountain area gets incredible amounts of snow in the winter. So you can imagine that snow melt feeds these little tributaries and canyons, and get a lush growth of willows here. As to what type of willows, I'm not sure exactly what species this is. Almost looks like Salix lasiandra, variety lasiandra, but I'm not sure if this is it because you would see little round stipules around the leaves. It's definitely not arroyo willow, Salix lasiolipus. The leaves are a little too shiny for arroyo willow. The other thing is, this is definitely not scalar willow because the leaves are not shaped right for scalar willow. Scalar willow is a little closer looking to arroyo willow, only the leaves are a little closer to spoon-shaped. This, I mean, if there are any dendrologists out there who might know exactly what this is, please drop a comment. I mean, I believe it could be Salix lasiandra, but it also could be Salix lemonii, lemons willow, but I'm not sure if lemons willow grows in the Angeles National Forest. I think it might be found in the San Bernardino National Forest. It might be. Don't quote me on that. But can't say for sure. So in this canyon, then we got these lush groves of Jeffrey pines, Pinus Jeffrey, ponderosa pines, Pinus ponderosa subspecies benthamiana, or variety pacifica, depending on which name you believe to be true. We got white fir, Abies concolor, variety concolor. We got some sugar pines here and there, mostly towards the highway side of the campground. We're getting close to the Burkhart Trail head. Back to those willows. Yeah, there's another willow. Back to those willows, the ones that I showed you. I wasn't sure if they were Pacific willow, Salix lasiandra, or Salix lemonii. I wonder if they could be Salix lutea, but I don't believe they're Salix lutea, yellow willow. I've seen Salix lutea in the San Bernardino National Forest. I'm not sure if they're here though. But yeah, you can see, got some very nice Jeffrey pines here. Beautiful incense cedars. You can see the trees get quite tall here because there's a lot more moisture here. And it's a north-facing, basically a north and east-facing aspect here. And we've got some incense cedar, some Calosages decurrens with the real reddish brown bark. Similar from a distance to a giant sequoia. However, giant sequoia bark is stringier. a little stringier and has a little more give. When you press an incense cedar bark, you're just pressing some hard wood. And we definitely have ponderosa here too. In fact, that one right there next to the incense cedar is actually a Pacific ponderosa pine. There's a Pacific ponderosa. Pinus ponderosa benthamiana. That way leads to Cooper Canyon. The Burkhart Trailhead right there. Take that to Cooper Canyon and Cooper Canyon Falls, all the way up to Burkhart Saddle. You can branch off to Will Thrall Peak, Hallett Mountain, Pleasant View Ridge, or you can hike it all the way to the Devil's Punch Bowl, and there's the trailhead right there. So Burkhart Trail is a very major trail here. I'm not planning on going down it today, just kind of wanted to enjoy the beautiful coniferous forest here. And there it is. There's a Pacific ponderosa pine right here. Pinus ponderosa subspecies benthamiana. Beautiful tree. I got a few more ponderosas around here too. Just wanted to show you that big beautiful tree right there. They do have giant sequoias planted here too. A couple of them here and there. What I'm going to do is poke around here. And we got these white alders. You notice they still have a lot of green on them. It's because white alders, older trees don't really change color too much. They may kind of lighten up and get a dullish yellowish green. But alder trees normally drop their leaves when they're still predominantly green. So the alder trees, Alnus rhombifolia, pretty common in this area, are starting to shed their leaves. So just wanted to take some time to show you some of the beauty here in the Buckhorn Campground area. It's absolutely scintillating here. Got some more ponderosa right here, but we have ponderosa and Jeffrey pine both growing here. So there might be some times where confusion may arise. Well, I usually stick to Jeffrey pine cones are bigger, and the prickles kind of go down like this, sometimes back a little bit. And then ponderosas are usually smaller cones, and their prickles kind of stick out like that. So just try to keep that in mind. Ponderosa bark tends to be a little yellower. Not always the case. It tends to be yellower, and the plates, bark plates, are a little bit wider. And the Jeffrey pines smell of vanilla in their bark furrows, and sometimes it travels very far on a warm sunny day. And then ponderosa, Pacific ponderosa at least, has no vanilla smell. More of a regular pine smell, I guess you could say. I mean, people in the Rocky Mountain states say that their ponderosas have a vanilla smell, and they don't have Jeffrey pines in the Rocky Mountains. But here's one. Here's a common shrub right here. This is the California coffee berry, and this is Frangula californica, subspecies californica. I can tell it's subspecies californica because it's shiny green as opposed to dull and tomentose. The leaves are relatively glabrous. And they got those little purplish drupe-like fruits. They ripen to purple in the fall. They got really nice ponderosa in there. That's a ponderosa, I can tell. The crowns on ponderosa tend to be a little bit neater, a little denser, sometimes a little bit denser. I can kind of tell just by looking at it. And ponderosas can tend to get much larger than Jeffrey pines. This is a Jeffrey right here. You can smell the vanilla very clearly. But yeah, that looks like a ponderosa. It could be a Jeffrey though. Ponderosa now. Beautiful area here. Highly recommend a visit here. I've never camped here. I really don't camp. I mostly focus on day hikes. But if I were to camp, this would be a pretty cool, real beautiful place to camp. Very noisy though. I've been here when there are a lot of people and it can get very loud. But to be near these large trees, it's very much worth it for me. So, well, this is Brian. I'm gonna look for where some enormous incense cedars, and I'm gonna get ready to film a spotlight on trees. So look for that in a separate video. And come down to the Buckhorn. Beautiful place here. Thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for a spotlight on trees.